Evening, folks. Here we are, 25 to 7, another Friday. Can't believe that we're already on the 15th of the month. Very strange, very quick how it's going. I've got some information for you this week, and I'll start with telling you what's on my vlog. I've got a new, I bought myself a couple of items, so I've got a couple of treats to show you. But I've also got some information about me CMT. I've had a bit of an update, so I will talk about that for a little bit, and then we'll go on to the situation, what's happening at the moment, because there's a lot to tell. So I'll start with the important stuff first. I, as you know, have got CMT, and I used to have a neurologist called Dr. Boothman, and Dr. Boothman was my neurologist for a few years, and I was due for an appointment 3 years ago in 2017 for June, sorry. Anyway, I got a letter from them telling me that it wasn't going to be in June, it was going to be in April. So I prepared myself to go in April. Then I got another one from them that said it had been postponed until further notice. So I left it, and I left it, and I left it. And about 16 months later, I got in touch with them because I still hadn't heard anything, and I needed to see a neurologist, you know, to tell them about what's been going on with my condition. Anyway, I was told that I had got a neurologist. They were looking for one for me. I hadn't got one, sorry. They were looking for one for me because they couldn't find one. So anyway, I only found out then that my neurologist had retired. And I didn't know he was retiring, so that comes as a bit of a shock. Anyway, a couple of days ago, I had a phone call, and it was a new guy. I'd never heard of him before. He's a new doctor, and he's my doctor now, and he's my neurologist. So I was able to go through over the phone with him all the stuff about me, about how me CMT affects me, etc., etc. Now, we went through the hands, you know, not being able to grip things properly, not being able to tell between hot and cold, etc., etc. We went through the balance and the body issues, and we also went through the feet with the curled over toes, so that your toes bend under each other, and the fact that you can't feel your feet. But I also brought up the fact that my foot turns blue nearly every day. My right foot goes blue, and my leg swells at the bottom. And I said to him, is it possibly linked to CMT? And he said, no. He said, no, it isn't linked to CMT. It sounds like a circulation problem. So I might have to go and have some more tests on my legs, because it does, my bottom of my leg does swell up really bad. My foot does, and my ankle does. It goes like a balloon, and it goes purple and blue. It goes literally a blue colour. And when you press on it with your fingers and then take your fingers off, you see the white coming back. The white comes back into your foot, and then it goes back blue. Anyway, I was speaking to my sister this morning, and we've got a bit of a cross purpose here, because she's spoken to her neurologist, and he said that the circulation problem is to do with my CMT. So I am now totally confused as to whether it is or it isn't. So as I'm posting this on the CMT group, as well as elsewhere, I would love it if people could let me know if they have a similar problem. I mean, I'm not talking like swollen after you've walked on it for a long time. I'm talking, I've been sitting down for a while, right? I mean, I've spent the last about 10 weeks or so in the house, except for going for a walk with the dog. And this can happen any time at all. It can happen first thing in the morning, after about half an hour of being up. It can happen in the afternoon. It can happen in the evening. It can happen after I've walked the dog, after I haven't walked the dog. It just happens that my leg, the bottom of my leg, from about my shin down, swells up, and it goes a horrible blue colour. Now, if you have similar problems, I would be interested to know if you would actually respond to this vlog. Leave me a comment, because I don't know whether this is linked to CMT or not, and I'd like to get some information about it, because it is something that I'm bothered about. Because if I have got circulation issues, I need to go, once this is all sorted, this COVID thing, I will need to make an appointment to go to the hospital, the doctors, and then the doctor will need to refer me to the hospital to find out what's going on, because if I've got circulation issues, I want to know about it, you know. I don't want to think that everything I get is down to CMT, because nearly everything I've ever had wrong with me since I've been diagnosed with CMT, a doctor has put down to CMT. A couple of years ago, I had problems with my eyes. When I looked up to the left-hand side, I had a shocking pain in my eye, a real bad pain in my eye. Now, I went to my doctor, who referred me to the hospital, who did tests, and the first thing they said to me was, oh, it could be linked to CMT. Well, I'd never heard of eye problems being linked to CMT before. Anyway, after a lot of diagnoses and months and months and months of tests and everything, they said it wasn't related to CMT, but they didn't know what it was. So all they did was give me eye drops, which I use. Now, I don't tend to try and look up to my left-hand side because of the pain it used to give me, so I'm not going to test it to find out if it works. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up with the CMT is I was also offered a drug the other day called gabapentin. Now, I don't know much about it. I'm on tramadol at the moment, and I'm also on medication for other conditions. I'm on levothyroxine because I've got hypothyroidism. I am on omeprazole because I've got gastroesophageal reflux disease. And I'm also taking a vitamin D spray as well because I'm low on vitamin D. So I've got all these things. Now, I was asked about gabapentin, and I don't know that much about it. I was offered it over the phone because he was going to basically write to my doctor and recommend if I wanted to, I could go on it. Now, I've heard good and bad things about gabapentin, and most of them bad. The side effects are quite a long list. They are a long list of side effects, including and not limited to falling asleep at random intervals. Now, I went through a couple of years of falling asleep in the middle of the daytime for no apparent reason, and I don't want to go through that again. And the other thing is, I don't really think I want me to have another medication because he said I could have run it alongside, and I don't really want no more tablets. I've already got about 12, 14, 15 a day. I know some people have got 40 or 50 a day. I'm not saying that I've got too many. What I'm saying is I don't like keep taking all these pills. I'm only 47. You know, if I was 94, double my age, then I could understand it. But I'm 47 years old, and already I'm taking 1, 2, 3, about 5, 6 lots of pills a day, maybe 7 lots of pills a day, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, that's a bit of info on my CMT. My hands haven't been too clever. I've been having a problem gripping stuff, and I've been having a lot of pain in my hands and my wrists. And it was funny because the other day, I couldn't work out why, but this part of my hand here was really sticky and gooey, and here, and I thought, what the hell? And I never twigged at first. I went through all the day without thinking, what on earth could this be? And then I looked down and I had one of those double gel mats, you know, with the 2 gel layers where you put your wrist on like that, and it had split. And the gel stuff inside had leaked out, and it was really sticky. Now, because I can't feel much because of my CMT, I didn't even realise that it was sticking to the mat. So anyway, I've got rid of that one now, and I've got a brand new one. I'll just show you my brand new mouse mat, actually. Look at that. It's another gel one. Made sure I got myself a gel one because I need the wrist support. I can't do without wrist support on a mouse mat at all. It's got to have wrist support. Otherwise, I'm no good. My wrist won't. No, it won't do it. So yeah, that's a bit of an update on my CMT. Because I haven't done an update on my CMT for a while. Now, people say to me, why don't I talk about it more? Because it's called Living with CMT. It is called Living with CMT because that's what I do. I live with CMT. I have it every day of my life. I can't walk away from it, and I can't hide from it. But the one thing I don't want to do is spend my life talking about the pain that it causes me and the discomfort and the things I can't do because of it. So yes, it is called Living with CMT, but it's not all about CMT. It's about my life and trying to live a normal life even though you have CMT, because it is possible to some degree. While I was talking to my specialist yesterday, he asked me about how it's affected me since I was first diagnosed in 1995. Well, in 1995, I was still very, very active. I was still a very, very long walker. I used to love long walks. I used to do a lot of sporting activities, not so much physical ones, but I used to do a lot of snooker, and I used to do a lot of darts and a lot of pool. And I also, like I say, I used to do long walks. I used to walk for miles and miles and miles. Now, I cannot walk without aid. I have to have calipers and a stick, so that's completely eliminated long walks. I get tired very quickly walking. I can walk to the shop, which is only 10 minutes down the road, and be tired by the time I've got there, so that's out. The other thing, obviously, sports. Now, yes, I was playing snooker and darts up until a few years ago, and I got to the point where I couldn't hold the dart. No matter what I did, I couldn't grip the dart, because you need a good grip for darts. And they were going all over the place. I was dropping them, they were coming out, they were nearly hitting the wall, and it was getting very, very frustrating. So that stopped. And also the fact that you have to stand still at the hockey to throw a dart. Well, I can't balance at all. I tried even do it by leaning on a stick or a chair, and I still couldn't balance properly to throw a dart. So I got really, really frustrated and angry. So instead of getting frustrated and angry, I took my dartboard down off the wall, complete with cabinets, and I sold everything in one go. I sold the lot. And while it was hanging there and I couldn't play it, it made me very, very frustrated, because I kept looking up at it, because it was only on the wall. You can't see the wall, but it was only on the wall that was there. It was on that wall, and I was always opening the cabinet and playing darts. And now I can look up and it's plain wall, so I don't mind so much now, because I don't have to look at it. The hardest thing to give up was snooker, because I've been playing snooker since I was about 14, and I was playing up until I was about 43. And I wasn't no Stephen Hendry or Jimmy White, don't get me wrong. I used to be good, but I wasn't good. You know, I enjoyed my game. I used to love playing it. I very rarely lost. Because when I first started playing it, I was a very, very bad loser, a terrible loser. I was literally a slam your cue, and the balls get rolled across the table, and angry and effing at myself and all sorts. I was a terrible, terrible loser. I'm not saying that was a good thing, because it wasn't. It was one of my big faults, really bad faults. And I was being watched one day by a man, and he said to me, do you want a game? And I had a game with him, and he beat me. And I was all fuming and angry and whatever. And he says, do you know, you're a good player, but it's a pity you won't get anywhere. Well, of course, I was young and cocky at the time, and I turned around and said, oh, what do you know about it and all this sort of stuff? He says, that's the reason. He says, your attitude. He says, you can't accept defeat, can you? And I was like, oh, I'm never going to... He says, if you learn to accept that sometimes you won't win, it makes losing a lot easier. And after that, funny enough, I did start thinking to myself, oh, well, I've lost this week, I might win next week. I've lost this game, I might win the next game. And it helped me a lot. You know, it did help me a lot. I'm still angry as hell when I played games, especially computer games, when I can't control something when I need to control it. But that's more frustration than anything for me hands that won't do what they're supposed to do. But yeah, so that is my section on the CMT. Coming up, a couple of things I've had. Now, I haven't got any boxes to unbox this month yet. My two boxes are Geekbox and Zbox and Threadsbox, and none of them have come. But what I have had is this, because I'm a massive, massive, massive Only Fools and Horses fan, right? As you know, from the name Son of Del, son of Derek. That's where I've got it from. And I have the original Only Fools and Horses Monopoly upstairs. It's still sealed. Now, I wanted a game of Only Fools and Horses Monopoly, but when I saw how much the original went for, like about £150, I decided not to open it. And I thought, well, when the new one comes out, that's come out, I will get it when it comes down, because I'm not paying 30 quid for Monopoly. Anyway, as luck would have it, I went on to I Want One of Those, or iWoot, whatever you call it, and they had it. And this is it. The Only Fools and Horses Monopoly. And what I like about it is you've got the characters here. You have got Del Cocktail, three-wheel van, a briefcase, the pineapple. Now, if you don't know what the pineapple reference is, if you ever see his flat, he's got his cigars in a jar. It's a pineapple that he takes the lid off. A Derek D medallion with a big D in the middle. And also, I'm not sure what the bottom one is, actually. No, I'm not quite sure what the bottom one is. Who knows? And what I like about it is all the names on the board, instead of having like Old Kent Road, Fleet Street, they're all names of Only Fools and Horses episodes. So I'm looking forward to playing that. But yeah, it was on I Want One of Those for 20 quid. And I don't mind paying £20 for Monopoly, but I won't pay 30. Anyway, that was the first thing I had. I treated myself. And the second thing was I went on to Amazon because I had some vouchers. And I've been playing, as you know, Borderlands and Fallout and Doom and all sorts of stuff. Now, I love Borderlands 3. And in my last vlog, I showed you I had Claptrap, Distressed Claptrap. He was the Funko Pop that I had. And I decided I wanted the others from Borderlands 3. So I went on and they had this one. Could you see that properly? Lilith, out of Borderlands 3. But they were doing this one, believe it or not, for £4.95. So I decided to get it for myself because it goes with me Distressed Claptrap. And I've since spoke to my nephew who's mental on all things Borderland, and he says that I've got to keep my eye on him when he comes up here because he's going to want to steal them, which wouldn't surprise me. He won't give it, but because me and Oliver, we like that. Well, yeah, we are really, really close. We're more like father and son than we are uncle and nephew. In fact, people have actually gone up to him before and asked him. When I was at my sister's wedding, somebody actually went up to him and asked if I was his dad, because we are that much alike. And we also look alike, unfortunately for him. When I take my glasses off, if we stand together, you would think we were father and son. We look that much alike. So yeah, so I've treated myself. I bought myself the Monopoly, and I've also had my Borderlands figure. So yeah, I just thought, why not? I've got the vouchers and I earned them doing surveys and stuff. Which reminds me, just before I end this section, I have recommended this week to 3 people now Revatest, where I get my stuff for testing from, because we've had some more stuff. We've had some more earphones for Deb. We've also had some stencils. Now, what these stencils are, anybody who does bullet journaling will know that a lot of bullet journals are split up with pages, and they've got like an aeroplane to show you've been on holiday, or a bookcase to show that you're reading, etc, etc. And there's about 30 sheets, plastic about this high, and each of them's got stencils on that you can use to put bullet journals. You've got the alphabet, and you've got all the emojis and symbols and all sorts of stuff, and they're fantastic. They are. They've even got things on them like landmarks, you know, like the Empire State Building and the Eiffel Tower, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, that you can actually stencil onto your pages. But the other good thing you can use them for is crafting, because anybody who does crafting and crafting cards would have a field day with these things. But I got them for Deb, but I think we're both going to get a use out of them, because I've got a bullet journal as well. I've never actually wrote in it yet. I've had it for about 18 months, but it's sitting there. And the good thing about bullet journals, if you get a proper one, is it's not dated. You put the dates in and you put the months in, so you don't have to think it's like a calendar where you have to put the information in on the right day. You don't have to do that with a bullet journal. So yeah, so I've got a little bit of stuff in the pipeline in the next few weeks or so, including obviously my 2 boxes for unboxing. So anyway, I'll leave it there for a minute and I'll be back in a sec. Right, we're back, and we're back to talking about the situation. Now, oh, just hold on a minute, I just need to turn this off because it's telling me I'm due for some medication. Just bear with me 1 second. That's that done. Right, the situation that's going on at the moment. I personally think that this country has gone mad. I do. I think it's gone mad. We've just gone through one of the worst phases in its history of the coronavirus, and we're still going through it. But because Boris Johnson, our superb Prime Minister, has suddenly decided that everything needs to reopen again, he's eased the lockdown measures. Now, I think it's about 4 weeks too soon, personally, because there is no way in a million years that it has been wiped out for a start. There's no way. The new rules are absolutely mental, and there's no way. I feel sorry for the poor police who've got to actually tell people that they start either too far apart, they shouldn't be in groups of whatever, because the new rules are so easy to mess with and make to your own use. Because the rules are that if you go out and you meet your family member, you've got to stay 6 feet apart. Great. But you're allowed to car share. Well, how can you sit in a car with somebody and be 6 feet apart from them? It's impossible, unless you've got a minibus. So first of all, that's impossible, and the police are never going to be able to uphold that. Also, people are going back to work, right? Which means hundreds of people are in cars on the road, which means they will be stopping at places to fill up and stuff like that, petrol stations, because obviously petrol stations are still open. You tell me when you've seen a petrol station where people stand 6 foot apart from each other. You can't, can you? They don't. Also, places like Subway have reopened, and McDonald's are on about it, and KFC. Now, personally, I prefer homemade food from scratch, right? I prefer homemade food from scratch. We don't have takeaways that often. We don't often eat out. The only thing we used to do out mostly was have a Costa coffee. And that was just because we were out, and while you're out, you want a little bit of something, keep you going, chill you out, relax, you have a coffee, not a problem. We very, very rarely ate out. The other thing, they're on about schools going back on the 1st of June. Now that's about 2 weeks away. That means to me that they've got to get every single school sterilised and cleaned in 2 weeks. Because you are risking sending children back into an environment, and they're on about the young uns, the diddlies, they're on about sending them back and making sure that they abide by the stay apart 6 feet. How can you tell a 5 and 6 year old child that they are not allowed to stand next to each other? How can you tell them that they are not allowed to hug their best friend? Or, as you've seen girls and lads do it and what have you, be in groups of 5 or 6 in the playground. It's going to be like a stalag. That's what it's going to be like. It's going to be like a concentration camp. They are going to be given little. I've seen the thing of it. They're going to have squares made out on the playground, and each one is allowed to be in one square. And that's their square. No other child is allowed in that square. Then you've got the aspect of the teachers. You're sending the teachers, you're willing to send the teachers and the children back into a school environment where at any one time, because if you think about it, now I'm not being funny here, but when I was at school, they couldn't even control nits. If one child got nits, the entire school got them. How are they going to be able to control an epidemic? How are they going to know if a child is carrying it without having every single child in the country tested before they go back to school? Now you think of some of these teachers. Now when I was at school, we had some older elderly teachers. We had some teachers in the late 50s, early 60s. They are prone and open to catching this. So they are going to go back and they're going to risk everything that they've just done for the last 12 weeks or 10 weeks or whatever it is in order to go back to school. I personally think it's ridiculous. And when I heard that the teaching unions were on about, we don't like this, how are we going to protect ourselves? I don't blame them if they do come out on strike. Because this is one thing, never mind pay, this is one thing, mate, where if they did come out on strike, they'd completely have my support, 100%. Because I think they're being used as guinea pigs, personally. I think the teachers and the children are going to be used as guinea pigs, and they're going to say, right, we'll see how they go for a month. If they do all right, everything can go back to normal. If they don't do all right, then we'll quarantine people again. But why would you do that? Why don't you just give it another 3 or 4 weeks? I mean, I live in Blackpool, which is massive for tourism. It's a big place for tourism. But we don't want tourists this year. We want them to stay away. Because we're all right at self-isolating and keeping ourselves germ-free. And, because people are still dying in Blackpool from it. But we're keeping the majority of us free from it. And then all of a sudden, people are going to come from all over the country and bring it from all the nations that are going. It's like, this is just ridiculous. And Blackpool today has even stated, Deb looked at it today, that there will be a full lights switch on event, because we have the Blackpool illuminations, and every year there is a switch on at the beginning of September that lasts for 2 months. They switch the lights on and then they're on for 2 months. They have this massive concert for opening it, and they have guests there, and there's usually thousands of people, and I'm talking 10 to 20,000 people all crammed together. How do they think that in what we are now, May, June, July, August, just over 3 months, Everybody's going to be all right with that. They're going to be fine by standing next to 1,000, 10,000 people they don't know. And you can imagine that they're not all going to be standing there with masks on, are they? They're going to be jumping up and shouting and cheering because the great bands are on, or whoever they like. They're mad. They're absolutely mad. Deb said a really good thing a few weeks ago. We should literally take 2020 and veto it and say, look, anything that was due to happen in 2020, whether it be an air show, whether it be the light switch on, whatever it is, don't have it this year. Start again next year. Give us till January. Give us till Christmas and January to get the country sorted. We are going back way too soon, and it's going to end in disaster. I can't see no other way for it to end. Now, before anybody says it's, oh, you're all right, you're blah, 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 I'll have you know that one of my family members has been diagnosed with it. And they've got to self-isolate for 14 days. And that's one of my family members. So before people start saying, I don't know what I'm on about, and, you know, oh, I'm all right because nobody's been affected, they have been affected. You know, I have known people who've been affected, not just this family member, but I've spoken to people on the internet whose relatives have been affected by it. A very good, somebody who I know on the internet and I've known for years, her husband-to-be was on he was literally, they thought he was going to go. He was that ill and that bad in hospital, but luckily, and fingers crossed and touch wood, he's making a fantastic recovery. He's kicked this thing's arse and he's on the road to recovery. Now, I'm dead pleased for him. I really am. I couldn't be more pleased for him and his soon-to-be wife, because they planned on getting married, and then this came along. You know, and I'm hoping that they have a fantastic future together and that it all goes brilliant. I really am. Yeah, it's been a bizarre bit of time. I mean, with the last couple of days, normally what we've done in the daytime is we've sat outside. After we've had his first cup of tea indoors, we've sat outside with a second cup of tea, and Deb's had a book outside, and I've had my book on Kindle outside, or my MP3 player, and we've sat there and had a drink of tea and just sat and listened to the birds and the blue sky and everything. But the last 3 days, it's been bloody freezing out there. It's been really cold. Now, the good news is next week they give out a really good week of weather, 18, 19, 20, 20 upwards on temperatures. So we'll be spending a lot more time outdoors, which is fantastic, because I don't like just sitting in front of my computer all day, but I'm not going to sit and binge watch telly 24 hours a day either. I'm going to start a jigsaw actually as soon as I've finished this vlog, while it's uploading, funny enough, and I will show it you when it's done. So yeah, that's my vlog. I'm done and dusted, and I'll do another one soon, but I'm going to leave you with another poem, and it's coming up in a minute. Now, as a lot of people are aware, last Friday was the 75th anniversary of VE Day, and it's a poignant time, and I wrote this poem that I'm just about to read out to you now, and it's called Never Forget. They fought and they died, they laughed and they cried, they bled for us, millions are dead for us. We sit in nice homes, protected little domes. They made them each stone, those that never came home. Their bodies the foundations of the nowadays nations. Their cries and their sorrows gave us our tomorrows. We eat, we are free, we owe them our liberty. We should honour them when we can, every woman, every man. Don't tell me that we are glorifying war when you play army games to get the highest score. When we celebrate and commemorate those that fought for us, out on the field or in the clear blue sky above us. With nothing but their thoughts and their hopes for peace, the darkest of days wondering when would it cease. I can't imagine what it must have been like then, seeing the destruction of women and men. So I will remember them every year, how they faced up to every fear. I will remember them with pride. I will cry the tears, from them I won't hide. I will sit silent and I will remember, like a slow glowing ember. I won't let what they did go unspoken. They fixed a world that was badly broken. And that's called Never Forget. Sorry about the little stutter in the middle, but I got there. You all take care, and I'll do another vlog soon. Bye for now.